Is there a way to know current score and match time for all in tactics? No, nor will there probably ever be. That's something that you as a player will probably just need to come up with. So ideally, like right now, yes, I understand that, well, you guys came up with some stalemate strategy. Okay, well, anyway, eventually, the way I expect Botland to work is you will be present for an entire match. When matches end up looking like this, where like clearly it's just gonna, nothing's gonna happen the rest of this match, then yeah, there's kind of a problem. But we're gonna do something to prevent this at some point. Look what's going on right now. I'm winning. I have a way that can make you not win. Watch this. Oh, I was gonna fix this for you, Voidreamer. There goes feed 13531. Oh, never mind. You didn't kill him, and now he's gonna get back up to full life. He actually did the opposite of feeding. Well, not the opposite. Oh, there, he died. Rigged. Nope. Alright, yeah, here we are. So let's refresh this page. And now, uh-oh, all buff values need, for what? What does this say? All buffs need values for now. Oh, they don't have values? Where's this done? Where did they even come from? Okay, so this is coming from here. Create buff. Validate buff. Oh, we never passed in. How did this happen? Create buff from template. Calls create buff. What? Diff current file. What do we used to do here? We used to pass in params. We don't anymore. Yeah. Alright, that was just a silly mistake. Okay. There we go. Alright. Yeah, let's check this out now. So I'm going to make a bot of my own. There we go. There it is. And now we're going to verify exactly what we'd verified before, which is that its buff was set correctly. And we didn't get an error at the very least, so we assume this is going to work. Yep, good. Perfect. So that's fine. Now let's add another buff to my player. Damage. We're going to do this. We're going to say this dot your player. We're going to add it to here. So there. I should have two buffs on my bot now. Plus 15% damage dealt and minus 15% damage taken. So let's see if that works. And let's also try to narrow this down to .get component buff. Also, there should be like buff lookup. That doesn't exist. Yeah, that's never serialized. That's only on the server. That's fine. Okay, great. So let's do this. Let's refresh the page, and then we'll see what we've got. We should have both both buffs, and they should have proper descriptions. Cannot find. Oh, I never deployed a bot. Deploy. Okay, there. So here we have it. This is the damage dealt one. Next, we also need the damage taken one. Let's see. Decreases damage taken by 15%. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Hey, Quantum KO. Happy late Thanksgiving to you too. Did the game end? What happened here? Oh, this is a close match. Huh. Nice. Okay. I think this is much better. Let's check this in. Let's also run pre-commit here. Let's see what we got though. So buff depot. We need to clarify what params does in create buff. Oh no, this should have still been there. This was stupid. Yeah, put this back in. Okay, good. So that's fine. We got rid of that. Good. So buffs are now complete after being constructed, as opposed to before, when you still had to object.assign all of their parameters. Buffs can now, yeah. let's see what we have here. So we can delete one new line there. Object.assign this params. Good. Serialized. So buffs are no longer serialized with a description. Buffs are no longer serialized with a description. That way we aren't needlessly sending bytes to the client when they have that data already. Looks like our MMR is similar. Is there going to be a profanity blocker in the bot names? Probably eventually. Yeah, we talked about that very briefly, but it is something we're probably going to do. Caption Goose Butt says, just curious, but what is the benefit of your keyboard being in that shape? So the idea behind this is it's more ergonomic. Your hands are in a position that causes less strain. And I'm really only using this keyboard because it's quieter than my other one, but I do like it. And in case you're curious about what kind of keyboard that is, there you go. There's a link. Wow, you guys are neck and neck. 87 to 87. I think Void Dreamer just pulled ahead by 2 points. So yeah, here's the problem. HSRU, oh, there we go. Okay, it's kind of getting fixed itself. But when you're clumped up, your bots are much better. As soon as you're not clumped up anymore. No, still pretty close. Alright, like I said, I gotta just close that tab completely. So did we check this in yet? No, not yet. Because it was pre-commit that I wanted to see if that finished. This part right here. No, all these are fine. Because they're coming from the code that I don't care about, really. So yeah, this stuff's working. Alright, gotta say, I like that way better. So we check that in, close all this other stuff over here. Done. Make sure artillery splash damage is not hurting own bots. I'm going to just cut this out for now. Come up with a system for letting a player choose buffs. Keep in mind that they shouldn't be forced to choose right away. The UI should be minimizable or something. If a player doesn't choose a buff, if a player... okay, how about this? Automatically choose a buff for a player when their choice is outstanding and they're about to be given a second choice. You got 10 deaths from Adam? Yeah, but look, Adam got 0 kills. That's pretty good. Yeah, you guys pretty much tied. So until I code in new buffs, there's no way to have a choice. So I think the next thing to do is make more of these. Here's what I'll do. I'll code this one next. Increase missile range. Let's try that out. Here's what we'll do. We'll go into buff constants. We will make one called increase missile range. Increase missile range. And we'll put this here. Increases missile range by buff dot value. One tile, I guess I should say. Yeah. So major value is 1. Oh, this is interesting. This is why this needed to be a function, and this is not something I actually thought about. Is because let's say value was, oh yeah, all right. I'm gonna write this down over here. Description give me a function that takes a single parameter which represents a fully formed buff object and returns a string representing the description. Okay, so this needs to be a function instead of a parameterized string so that we can account for plurals in some cases or any other formatting. E.g. 2 tiles. Oh, what just happened? First Botland International Championship. Oh, see you, Void Dreamer. Okay, so do we have a pluralized function in here? We don't. I think I wrote one for ophog. Let's see. I don't know if I actually did, but I'm pretty sure I did. Let's go into JS, look at util. Here. Did I write something about pluralizing a string? ural. Huh. I apparently did not. Plural? Oh, I think I know where I wrote it for this. Util pluralize. Here we go. Yeah, let's take this function. Okay. So we say export function pluralize stir count. Simple function to pluralize something based on the count passed in. Pluralize minute 0 minutes. Pluralize minute 1 minute. Yep. That all looks great. Perfect. Now we have a pluralize function. Unexpected token. Where is that coming from? Line 29. Oh, unexpected token is this. Okay, next. What do we do in here? We say increases missile range by, and here we have to say util. Ooh, how's this going to work? This is something I didn't think of. Where does util need to be for this to be? Interesting. Okay, let's try this out. Util dot pluralize. There's a string, so I guess we say the string is tile, and we take in buff.value. Interesting. Okay, now, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm not positive this is going to work. So let's add in another buff. We'll say increase missile range. Does a buff have its buff touch? No, it doesn't have a description in it yet. Okay, we'll need to do this. Uh-oh, SwiftBlue got timed out. That's a terrible pluralize function. You should take extra parameter for the single and plural versions of the word. Oh, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah, because this will only work for things that require just an S, and it's language specific too. Yeah, I will make that change. Thank you, Monadic Bind. Let me give you a point. What is that awesome to do plugin you're using? It's called Plain Tasks. And if you want to know anything else about the plugins that I'm using, although Plain Tasks isn't on here, you can go to the blog that I used to post to. It's for Botland. I just haven't posted since the one about the Sublime environment. And so this tells you about all the different plugins that you might see me use, and it also has a video at the bottom for me using them. So if you wanted to watch a video, you can kind of see things that work. Torch says, do you have troubles with snacking, or does the streaming keep you distracted enough? Troubles with snacking? I don't think I've ever been asked that before. No. I don't. I'm not sure. And yeah, hey SwiftBlue. Okay, yeah, let's make a better pluralize function. So string, or we could say count singular string plural string. Simple function to pluralize something based on the count passed in. So we don't really need to pass this stuff in anymore. What we could say is the number of that string that you have, of something that you have, and then here we say param string singular string, the string to use if singular, and plural string. Whoops. The string to use if plural. Okay. So if count is not equal to -1, return plural string. Otherwise, return singular string. We could actually simplify this function to return singular, otherwise plural. Great. So now pluralize is slightly different. So we need to go change that too. Util.pluralize takes in buff.value, and then we say tile and tiles. Yeah. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, here we go. Also, what's going on? Oh, it's me versus HSRU. Okay, time to wreck. Well, actually, yeah, let's take cloaking and thrusters. Whoop, something happened. Yeah, util is not defined. So I guess it needs to be in the class that, yeah, I know how I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, there we go. Oh, you've got melee on your bots. You knew what I would do. You planned for it. Good job, HSRU. Yeah, so util doesn't exist here. So we need to say import star as util from ... No, like that. Now this should stop breaking. Okay, let's try that out. Yeah, hopefully this stops breaking in. Let's see what happens. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so adding a buff to player. We've got this. Let's put a breakpoint here and refresh one more time. And then this should get hit immediately, and we'll examine the buff to make sure that the description got set correctly. Let's try this out. So what do we have? We have buff to add dot description. Increases damage dealt by 15%. Yep, looks good. Now we do the same thing down here, except with buff to add 2. Increases missile range by 1 tile. Okay, that's good. The only other thing I want to test is when I set this to 2. Does the pluralize function work? Also, yeah. Okay, let's put the breakpoint here now. HSRU says, yeah, I've seen it again. Splash clearly damages my bots. Okay, let me take a look. I think, whoop. Let me see. Man, my stupid bots. Okay, let's deploy a couple more of these. There. This bot will now shoot over here, and we'll be able to check to see if this happens. No, wait. 1, 2, 3. Oh, man. Your bots are clumped in just such a way that I can't get them to shoot it themselves. This might work that way. Okay, there we go. Oh, but then they... I really want to see this. Okay, there. Yeah, no, yeah, you're definitely right. Okay. It's a pretty big bug, so I will give you 3 points for that. GamerCoder says, hi Adam, how do you come up with new ideas for this project? Do most of them come from viewers, or do you have it all planned out after you end the stream, for example? So I'm working on this with one other person as part of the company. So there are actually more people involved in the project, but we've hired them. So there's one other co-founder, and he is also the co-designer of the game with me. We have like a 40-something page document, and then many other extra documents for describing how the game should work. We've prototyped it. But then, yeah, there are certain things that come up from people in chat who describe, hey, wouldn't it be great to have this function, or wouldn't it be cool to have, I don't know, teleporting and explosions at the same time? So there is a grand plan for this, but there's also little tweaks as it's played. Quantum Chaos says, is Wiki software I sent you work? I have not been able to install it yet. I haven't even tried, though, so it'll probably work. Requires one of us to be away. Yeah, so this is weird. I have a test that's supposed to test this, and it's not working, I guess. Can you, HSRU, can you tell me what your loadout is? Like Like if you have this loadout that I have here, I would say like melee 3, cloaking 2, thrusters 2. What is your loadout? And hey, Exo Gaming. Also, let me try this out now. We should have this breakpoint here, and I should be able to just say buff to add 2.description, 2 tiles. Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. That works. So let's get rid of this, and then we'll figure out that bug. I find it very weird that bug is happening, because what is my test doing then? Or is the test breaking? Melee 1, regen 3, artillery. Okay, so let's try this out. Fix bug where artillery splash can hurt self. It was melee 1, regen 3, artillery 3. Okay, not streaming for 4 days in a row. Bad, Adam. Hey, it was Thanksgiving last week. I don't ever stream on Thursdays anyway, but I was gone on a road trip, and I had put it in the title of the stream that I wouldn't be streaming, and I warned you guys for like 3 days straight. But I agree. I'd like to keep a consistent schedule. So for the next at least couple of weeks, the only it's not even a lack of a day. On Wednesday of this week, I might be about 30 or 40 minutes late to start the stream because I have an appointment in the morning. There are certain things I can't do anything about. Like, I can't put off all my medical appointments such that they're only on the weekend. Otherwise, like, I'm not focusing on my health. I can't not take vacation sometimes. That I actually could do. Well, the medical appointment thing is pretty important. All right. Take your setup in the car. That's a good way to crash and burn. All right, so did the test pass? Yeah, they did. So this is where things are wrong and where I should just always trust HSRU. So let's go to artillery. Should not have artillery deal splash damage to owned or allied bots. So I did see this with my own eyes. I know this is happening. We have an artillery bot here. Ooh, yeah, okay, here. Cert took damage. Good. What level of artillery is this? It's just whatever's built in. Which is what? Level 1. What? What is happening? If I go into the server arena and I look for an artillery shell landed, how does this work? Potential targets. I pass in all the different coordinates, and I pass in splash damage or regular damage. And then here, I check to see get entity on tile. If the entities are foes, then we deal damage. Otherwise, we don't. So this is returning true for entity and target entity. The artillery shell. Oh, that might be a problem. And how is this test passing? Doesn't make any sense. What is... Okay, shell assemblage? Does that exist? Projectile assemblage does. This has an owned by player component. Source player ID. What is going on? Okay. I gotta construct this same scenario. Alright, how do we do this? We make a bot here. I guess it's gonna have reflect, that's fine. And then we go into server arena and we open this up. So we're gonna make the first bot, if that's at 1-0, then we're gonna make a bot at 0-0. And then we're gonna make the next bot at 6-0. Okay, now let's try this out. This should test this for us. Man. Okay, here we go. We should see a bot be right here. What happened? I'll pause on a JavaScript breakpoint. I don't care about that. Okay, there's the reflect bot. We don't care that it's reflecting. We put artillery down, and we just say fire artillery if it'll work. So we deploy, and we should be right there. Does not fire artillery. That's totally fine. Now we deploy the next one, and we'll see, do we do damage to ourselves? We don't. Oh, I think I know what's happening. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. There is no bug. That's what's happening. And it's not to say that HSRU is wrong. It's watch this. I think I fixed this bug. I just never pushed it to the server. Where did I fix it though? Fixed a bug where the splash damage from artillery could damage friendly bots. This bug was found by the automated test. That was 11/24/15. So that was Tuesday. When did I start? When did I do a git pull? How would I even figure that out? How do I figure that out? Oh, here's what we do. We just look at the code. Right. I'm an idiot. Okay. Let's find. Wait, where's the artillery thing? Darn it. I said it was 11/24, so it must be somewhere over here. This. Okay. Yeah, 11/24, 4:48. So we go into the client folder and we check dist this ls-al. So it was modified at 6:42. No, but what time is this? What time zone is this? I mean, how do you figure out what time zone a computer is set to in Linux? Can we just echo time? No, how do you echo time? Oh, sorry, that's a Windows way of doing things. Date is this? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So it thinks that it's 6:19 right now. So it's 3 hours ahead of us because it's EST. So I need to subtract 3 hours, which would put us at 15:42, which is 3:42, which is before 4:48. So yeah, there's no bug. Problem solved. Okay, yeah. So HSRU, I shouldn't have given you points probably, but you did find a bug, so that's fine. Check local git commits. No. I definitely have. I definitely have this on my own machine. I just haven't published it to the other machine. You know what? We should write this down. Let's do this. So this is not a bug that I need to fix. After I fix this, I'm going to say deploy to server. This will fix artillery bug, lower post-match time. What other bugs did I fix? I guess fix reflect bug. Yeah, whatever else. Bug to the future. Yeah, man. Well, sorry about that, because it is a bug that's affecting the server right now. I just haven't pushed to fix. All right, so increase missile range. Let's get back to this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete all of this code. No, I'm not. No, that would be incredibly stupid. No. Shut up, Adam. I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to delete that code though, and then we're going to do this. Let's make this insanely overpowered. Oh wait, no, this won't make it overpowered. Because you need to be able to see your target. Alright, well, we're still going to do that. Okay, good. Then all we need to do is make it so that missile range takes that into account. So we go into the code execution system, and we go into fire missiles. And here we get the missile hardware, and we get the range from here. So we're going to say let, and then we need to get the buff. I'll take a stab myself tonight. Just responding to a whisper really quickly. Let me try installing wiki software tonight. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to get a buff. How do we do that? We go into serve arena, and then we get buff. Well, I don't know what we do this. So yeah, here we go. All right, so we need to do something like this. There needs to be a much better way of doing this. We need to be able to say just get buff and then an ID. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go into the server arena. Let's do this. get buff on entity, get buff from entity, get buff from entity. We'll say entity buff ID. And now here's how this is going to work. We're going to do this. We're going to say get the buff lookup component, and that's based on the entity. Then we're going to get the buff that you want, buff of interest. I'll just call it buff, I guess. And we're going to get it based on the ID that you passed in. And if it exists, we return it. So we don't do any of this. We just say return buff. Well, we can do it this way, I guess. That's fine. And we can say return null. Adam's fixing so many bugs, he doesn't know what he fixed yet. I don't know what he did. Yeah. Adam, can you take my beta away and give it away? I won't play it anyways. I bought it by accident because I was checking if I have the game since last week. I got it for free somehow and I was checking if it's still there. No, you should just keep it. There'll be some fun features this week. So, yeah, you should play around. Oh, but no, there are no refunds. That's actually not even true. I think you should play sometime this week, and I think that the features that I'm going to add will make the game a lot more fun, and we're eventually steering closer and closer to the point where Botland is the game it's going to be, and then there's polish and UI and graphics and everything else to change. And remember, you guys don't have the has pre-beta command. That's only me. So I can do this, but you guys can't. Okay, so now we have get buff from entity. The way we could do this, if we wanted to, we could say something like this. We could say this dot get buff from entity. Whoops, let's fix that. Yeah, this dot get buff from entity, source entity, and that. And now this would get rid of this code for us. This actually does make things a bit cleaner. I wonder if we should do that. Keep it this way. We could do this. Same thing over here. Good. We put this for here. Good. And then we're done. Yeah. All right. That simplifies that code. That's not too bad. Exo Gaming says, okay, I'll play on Thursday. You actually could play on Thursday. That should be fine. And make it a public command to avoid such situations. I could do that. Does someone want to give Folk the 6 points? Actually, you'd have to give minimally 10. So does someone want to give Folk 10 points? Otherwise, Folk has to wait another hour. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to do this. We're going to say, what's this called? Buff constants. Increase missile range. Should we put this right on the missile hardware? No, I don't think that's necessary, but I also don't think this is the best way of doing things. So we can say increase missile range buff is this. We don't have this dot active, this dot arena. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of things that you're going to need to change here. I don't know how I feel about this stuff. So we can do that, and then we can say if this exists, then let's do missile range plus equal the value of that. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Now the only problem is that we don't have buff constants here. So we need to import that. Now where do these come from? They come from shared. So the same place as constants, basically. There. Aw, that's nice of you guys. Thanks for giving points. Although HSRU, you really fumbled around there. Okay, I should disconnect, or I should just play the game, I guess. Let me deploy these bots. Now we refresh this page, and let's see. We should have increased missile range. So let's put a missiles bot down, and we'll say, actually, let's do this. Let's just take the artillery out of here. Yeah, this is perfect. Exactly what I want. So we delete this, and then we put thrusters on and some regen. And this is going to be missiles test. We'll save this bot. We'll deploy one of them. So now here's what's going to happen. This thing's going to shoot missiles from way farther away than it should be able to shoot missiles. Something's broken. This .get buff from entity.get buff is not a function. Where's that coming from? Okay, let's fix this. There. All right. So now we go up 1 in the stack, and we type air.stack here, and we get adjust life modified. What is going on then? This doesn't exist. I don't follow. This has to exist. It's right here. Maybe I put a breakpoint here and then we find out. Yeah. Let me put a breakpoint here. All right, that got hit. Now what? Get buff from entity doesn't exist. This dot get buff from entity. No, it does exist. Did I type it wrong? Get buff from entity. Oh, dot get. Oops. Okay, yeah, that was stupid. Exo Gaming says, I can't wait for the new art. I just like art. Then I'll play the game a lot more compared to now. Yeah, as far as new art being in the game, that'll probably be quite some time. As far as showing you guys concept art, when I get about 1,000 followers, that'll happen, I think. Yeah, artillery hits too. No, I know. I will patch that soon. Don't worry. That is pretty funny that you can kill your own bots with artillery. All right, here we go. Let's load it up and do that. Now we should. Oh, this is wrong. This has to be up. There we go. Yep. All right, check it out. We should see missiles hit from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So either this tile or I guess. Oh, that should be fine, right? Oh, even the enemy got increased missile range. In fact, only the enemy probably got increased missile range. What just happened? Your player.add buff 2. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that's weird. Oh, no, it's not. That's reflect. Oh, that's what's happening. Right? Yeah, that's working. Okay, so here's what we do now. Go into the simulation server. We turn off half this stuff because this was stupid. This is gone and this is gone. I think there's still some bug with stealth bots and splash. Right now it avoided damage while moving into a wall. So there's no way it was about not being on that tile anymore. But whatever, I'll keep looking, maybe I'm wrong. Stealth affecting splash damage. We only check to see if they're foes. I don't know. How about this? HSRU, you should take a look after I deploy, which I'll try to do after I fix this thing. Also, did Folk buy the game? Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Okay, let's take a look. What's going on? Oops, I was typing into the wrong browser. Oh, darn it. I gotta fix things. All right, is this the JavaScript breakpoint? Yes. Remove, play, and great. So now I have missiles that are overpowered. Let's deploy a couple of these bots. In fact, let's deploy a lot of these. All right, now I should be able to hit them from way farther away than they can hit me. Yeah, look at that. This is crazy. So this is the power of buffs, and this is what's going to be awesome about this once I get the system into the game. You may be presented with this opportunity. You might increase your missile range by 1. Now granted, I've increased it by like 3 over here, but if you get that, your missiles become a lot better than they used to be. Like, I just turned missiles into artillery, but they're instantaneous, so they're like incredibly overpowered. but it sure is a lot of fun to try out. Like, look at my KDR. It's 8.3. In fact, I could make my KDR even better by, instead of putting thrusters on, putting 3 regen. And, well, and I guess 1 thrusters. There we go. Now I wait for my boss to die out, which is hardly ever going to happen because of how much damage these things do. Come on, kill it. Kill my bots. Good. 1 more. Good. Perfect. Okay, now we can deploy new ones. There. And now watch my KDR go crazy. Oh, I'm not going to buy it today. I'll do it if I have time. Oh, I see. Oh, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have had other people gifted to you. Because tomorrow the game cost is going to go down by 10 points. But no, you should get some sleep. Alright, cool. So we've got this working. And with regen, too. This is pretty crazy. Oh, I died. Okay, cool. This thing works. And that was pretty easy to implement, too. So let's check that in. Get buff from entity. We need to go comment. Serve arena, get buff from entity. Returns a buff from this entity. This search is done in constant time thanks to the lookup map. Okay, entity, buff ID. This is what? Buff constants.ids. And this is the buff, which may or may not exist. You guys shouldn't make new accounts just to get points, by the way. And concept art, please, sounds like an account that was just made now. Let's find out. Time to do some snooping. Zero views, 0 follows. I don't know why this takes so long to load. I don't know if you can even find out when an account was made unless you have that account. No bio, no icon, no other followers, Fox only, final destination. I don't want to encourage that, but I also don't know who you are. I assume it's Exo Gaming. There is one way to find out. Aha! Exo Gaming's not in the channel anymore. Who could this possibly be? Yeah, please don't make fake accounts. Okay, next up, let missile range. So now we can increase the missile range. Yep, that's great. Did not take a long time for us to add that. We've got that, we've got that, we've got this. Perfect. Now we just set this to 1 instead of the 20. And I think we're pretty good here. Oh yeah, and then we added in the pluralize function too. Okay, great. So, test. Added a new major only buff. Increase, whatever I called it. Constants, missile range, yeah. This increases missile range by 1 tile for now. As with the other buffs, this is only added if you manually add it. Okay, here's what we'll do now. We will turn off my keyboard camera and type in my password. Great. And then let's do a deploy. That way you guys can get the new code. So BL deploy. Now let's think of what's in there. Well, let's not even think about it. Let's just go find out. Oh wait, this won't work. No, we gotta delete this. I gotta revert what I did. This needs to be reverted. There, done. Now we can deploy. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at what's changed since I last deployed. Now we know for sure, that this did not get put in there. And I think I said, what, 342 is when I deployed? So apparently this is the last thing I added. So we're going to make a check-in, and we're going to say fixed artillery bug. Actually, is there some better way we can I like copy all of this? I don't really want to do that. Fixed artillery splash damage, hurting, owned / allied bots. So tests, comments, post game. Oh yeah, post game phase only lasts 1 minute instead of 3. Blockly blocks arena within height. Good foundation for buffs, damage dealt. Added some commented out code. Don't care about that. Game server wouldn't even start. Fixed that bug where team scores. Oh yeah, fixed the bug where team scores weren't being set correctly when you joined mid game. Deploying a bot via Blockly. Good. Don't care. Yeah, all this new stuff is about buffs. So really, these are the only 3 things that impact the server. No, concept art, you don't have to unfollow. I'm just saying, like, making accounts just for the sake of getting closer to the 1,000 follower goal, or for controlling lights, or for getting points, those are things I don't want to encourage. It's actually should be just fixed artillery damage, since it's not only splash. Oh yeah, you're right. Fixed artillery damage. Yeah, thanks. Okay, this takes an incredibly long time to do, so I'm not really gonna keep too close of an eye on that. What's up next? Deploy to server. Okay, yeah, I guess we should kind of work on this. All right, before I do this, let's run GC here, and let me take a look at how much. So memory is at 427. Now it's down to 353, 328 even. Okay, I'm gonna have to close the server. Dib says, so I'm number 1 tank bot. How do I get light access? I must have missed it when I followed back before Adam was famous. Oh, I'll just give you light access then. Dibs 09. There you go. And so, wait, in order to use that, by the way, you'll need to, well, all right, let me click this. So this is the link you get when you follow me. You need to turn off color loop before controlling a light. So see the lights behind me? If I hit color loop off, that one just changed to green, I guess. And now you can change it to whatever it is you want. So pink or blue or whatever else. So just make sure you turn color loop off before you start messing with some of these lights, because otherwise it just won't do anything. Okay, is the deploy finished? Where did the deploy go? Where did the deploy go? Oh, here we go. Okay, so who's online right now? Because you're all going to get kicked off. Just HSRU. Okay, good. That's good. So let's push this. Good. Check it in. Perfect. Push. My keyboard camera is still off for the very reason of that I need to type the password. Oh, that really shouldn't be over there, so fine. Okay, good. Now we also do the same thing over here. We go to this and we say get pull. And then I do this off screen, and there we go. Now I can turn my keyboard camera back on. And now I'm going to restart this. Okay. So what does our memory end up at? Yeah, my CPU is going crazy right now. Just HSRU. What hardware are you using to host the game? I'm using a DigitalOcean $5 VM, so it's like really, really garbage hardware pretty much. Yeah, so 512 megabytes of RAM, 1 core processor, an SSD, and then a whole bunch of bandwidth. I don't even think the bandwidth is being tracked, but that's why you can see, like, I don't even have swap memory on this. Yeah, what is going on over here? That was crazy. Did this start up? Yeah, it did. So now the game should be playable. You should be able to refresh, and connect. Let's see, that took a moderately long time. Yeah, so I'm the only person online. Yeah, but if you guys want to connect again, you can connect to the game. Nice. Okay. Cool. It works for testing, it seems. Yeah, it works. And by the way, the goal here is to eventually have it so that I don't really need a beefy server to handle Botland. If you take a look here at the shell, like, yes, I'm using about 400 megabytes of RAM, which I'm kind of surprised it's that high. But this could probably host like 10 or 20 players at the very least. And part of the reason it's so high is because of Babel. Like, there should be no transpilation, no extra memory used by that eventually, but unfortunately there is for now. Let me run the garbage collector and see what happens. Yeah, that does bring it down. 223. Huh, okay. Well, it'll go back up to a reasonable amount. Alright, so let me deploy my bots that I had from before. Oh, let's just make the melee bot. I'm going to make this slightly better than that. We'll do melee and, melee, cloaking, and thrusters. And let's do this. I'll edit as JavaScript. Well, no, I'll edit it as Blockly. That way it's more obvious what I'm doing. So we'll say if, well, let's say this. Set enemy dir to left. We actually can't even use this, can we? Move in random dir. No, we can't. Set it to 0, I guess. Fine. Oh, this is really stupid. Fine, I'll set it to left. This is why I should just type in JavaScript. So now we can check if we can duplicate this, put this over here. So if enemy dir equals left, then do if can move left, move left. Otherwise, we'll duplicate this whole block and do it with right. And right before all of that, let's put another block here that says if can move any direction, move in any direction. However, we also want there to be an and there. So we put this over here and we check percent chance over here of like 30. There. Okay, cool. So here's our script. What we're going to do is we're going to check to see right away, can melee hit? Great. If not, we're going to pursue an enemy bot and we're going to cloak if we can see it. Great. If, you know what else we'll do? No, let's just leave it like that, I guess. Okay. Yeah, so save this and deploy 5 of these. Great. So now they'll mostly move toward the left, but they'll also randomly sometimes move in a random direction. And then when they get over here, hopefully they destroy HSRU. Yes, perfect. No, not perfect. He's got missiles. Yeah, so clumped up bots are still really powerful. I don't know. We're going to need to do something about this. It could just be more AoE. Oh, okay. See you, Exo Gaming. Stop countering me, Baby Rage. Is visual language completely done? It seems quite robust. So it's a library that I'm using for this called Blockly, and it actually is like it's kind of as done as I want to get it, at least for now. We might end up changing it a bit more. All right, yeah. So I've got the counter to you. So if you wanted to counter me even more, you'd have to get rid of your artillery and put in shields probably, and then you'd have just shields and missiles, and I bet that would be me. And by the way, if you randomly move into a cloaked bot, you uncloak that bot. Why melee attacking doesn't decloak? Nothing decloaks you other than getting moved into. So you could be cloaked and using artillery if you want, but that's not really a good strategy. Hey, Creeper Fighter. Okay, so we've got 3 buffs now. We finally have 3 buffs. I wonder if it's worth doing this now. Come up with a system for letting player choose buffs. Keep in mind that they shouldn't be forced to choose right away. The UI should be minimizable or something. This is all of what we've been working toward. So let's see what it would take to do this. At the very least, we're going to design this. Good. We have no outstanding changes. The only other thing, no, I'm not even going to do that. We're going to start to design this. Trump says, I love the idea of this game. Have you ever played before? Wow, why is my keyboard going so slowly? It's hard to type when it's lagging like this. All right, there we go. So let's see. Has pre-beta. Trump has never had a pre-beta account. How many points do you have? 194. Why don't you just play the game? All right, here. You should type this if you want to get access to the game. So if you type, if you whisper Botland bot with the word game, you'll get access immediately, and you can just start playing. Torch says there's a programming competition coming up at my university that I might enter. It's similar to this game in that you need to write code for a tank battle, but I don't have all the details for it yet. Oh, interesting. Yeah, and what I'm hoping to do with this is, because I know there are other coding games that are similar to this, what I'm hoping to do is make a game that's not necessarily just for coders and something that you can dive in and play and have fun, and there's like 10-minute matches. So I think it's different enough from all the existing games out there where it will have a market, assuming I can get the word out there. So we'll see. Is there a time limit on access? Yes. So your account is deleted every Sunday. So that means that you will get access until this coming Sunday. Then you'll have to spend it again. So it costs 100 points for today. Tomorrow it'll cost 90. The next day it'll cost... Actually, here, let me just link this in the chat. Bot.land. So yeah, if you go to bot.land, there is a pre-beta page right here, pre-beta. And you can see how much it costs. So Monday it's 100, Tuesday it's 90. And I said every Sunday everyone's account is deleted and you'll need to spend points again. And I say how you get points and how many points you get and, you know, disclosures and expectations and everything else. So, yeah. Okay, so letting a player choose buffs. So the first thing we need to do is we need a function for generating these buffs for players. So this would be something like at the -1 minute mark, call that function. And here's how it would work. We'd say like function generate buffs. We look at a player. We kind of already have this. Randomly generate buffs, num-buffs to generate. So buff depot.randomly generate buffs. We're going to generate 3. We're going to say buff ID is not allowed as player dot like already seen ID. Oh, you know where this comes from? This comes from that, where did I write this out? I had a file where I started typing all of this. Buff prototype working copy. I think it was this. Modify damage. We don't need that anymore. Fire projectile. Don't care about that. This player.scene buff IDs and then add them and then buff choices equals buffs to choose from. Yeah, so we got to do this pretty much. Player chose buff. Yeah, so this is what we want. I'm trying to see what's happening in chat. Looks like a lot of points checking. Oh yeah, by the way, Trump, when you start to play, you should watch this video. If you've been watching the stream pretty closely, you might have a pretty good idea of how you configure bots and how the game is played and everything else and some restrictions, but that video will help explain a lot of this. And then once you start to playing bots, I can just kind of bow out and let you play against HSRU. 22 hours already? Oops. Alright, so this is the system that we want. So we want to generate this, and we want major buffs, and then we need to send it to someone. So we're going to say function generate buffs for player. Going to generate a buff, generate buffs for them, and then to do, tell that player about the choices. Now, what if they disconnect? They still have choices. Yeah, and they should be able to see it again. This is something that's really stupid, though. So when a player reconnects while they have buff choices outstanding, they should be told about those choices. Okay. Oh yeah, and another thing that's actually really cool. So when this match ends, there's a post-game time. That was already in the game for a long time. But it's no longer 3 minutes, which is a ridiculous amount of time to wait. Now it's 1 minute. So there's 2 minutes of dead time because there's both a post-game and a pre-game. Eventually the pre-game will not be dead time anymore. That's where you'll pick your first buff. And that's when things will get interesting. So tell that player about the choices. Then player chose buff. Okay, so yeah, we got to do this. Now what does this? I think it could be the game server. Do we have the router function here? We do, yeah. So here's what we'll do. When you switch into a new game, oh, this is going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Maybe not. Let's do this. So where do we have new game? We don't have a new game function. Isn't that nice? Current game phase is not equal to new game phase. Set game phase is a new one. If new game phase equals pre-game, then we started the new game. So this dot started new game. Great. Now we can copy all of this stuff out of here. Started new game. Done. Okay. I like that. Now, part of starting a new game is sending to all connected players your buff choices. So we need to do something like that. So generate buffs for player. And we need to do it this way. We could, I don't think it's a good idea to do that in the player depot. This function really could go anywhere, so I guess let's do it here for now. Do we ever iterate over the player depot in here already? No. No, we don't. The answer is no. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do shared player depot. Do we have a get all players? No. Do we have a... This is stupid. I could just put this in here. Get players by ID. There's a get player by ID, but get... Let's do this. Get all players. Now, does this exist somewhere in the code base already? That's something I should definitely look into. The answer is yes. Yes. Okay, return this dot players by ID. Excellent. Returns all players in this depot by, yeah, we're gonna say object. Good. Then we go back up to here and we say generate buffs for all players. So this dot generate all players. Good. Then we iterate over this. So const players by ID equals this dot player depot. Get all players. Then we do for let ID in players by ID. Const player equals players by ID. ID. This dot generate buffs for player. Good. Next is where we call this stuff. So here's what we do here. Generate 3 major buffs for the player to choose from. So buffs to choose from equals buff system. Not even called buff system anymore. It's called buff depot, and I don't even know where that is. Oh, there it is. Oh, that was easy. Randomly generate 3 buffs. Great, and major. And now we really should put this in a constant somewhere. It's kind of stupid to say this, but we'll say major buff choices. Num major buff choices. There's 3. The number of major buff choices you are offered at a time. Good. So we go back into the game server, and instead of this, we say this. Then we add it to their scene buff IDs. We don't have that concept. Let's put it in the server player. Doesn't make sense to put it somewhere else. So we'll say this dot scene buff IDs equals this. So when we dispose it, we want to say this equals null. And then up here, we say that this is an object of buff constants.ids to boolean. A hash of which buff IDs this player has already seen. This is kept around so that we don't show the same, so that we don't show a player the same buff twice over the course of a game. Okay, next up, we need to reset this every time that a game resets. So we have a reset all player stats. We need to say reset all players seen buffs. And we do kind of the same thing that we have here. Except for we call this reset seen buffs. Now we go into server player, and where is this coming from? The shared? That can't be the case anymore. In fact, this is only ever called from the server too. No, that's not true. Where do I put this? Oh, maybe we do put this into the shared class. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Shared player. So we can put this here, seen buff IDs, and then we move the dispose up to there too. Just put that there. Okay, next. Next we write a function in here called reset seen buffs. This dot seen buff IDs equals empty object. Spawn a bot, please. Will do. Actually, landmines are a pretty good counter to my bot right now, which is missiles. Your landmines aren't even that powerful, actually. Okay, time to counter you. You ready? Are you ready? Let's go with some reflect and some missiles. And a shield. So we'll say fire missiles. Then we'll say activate reflect. Pursue enemy after that, I guess. No, let's do this first. Then we'll do shield self. And then we'll have move code. So let's just move to the left. And we'll say something like this too. We'll say if built-in variable, if x is less than 5, then we'll just move randomly. Okay, now let me kill my bots off and then deploy new ones. There. They're not the smartest bots, but they're not too bad. They should activate the reflect shield in some way. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Not bad. They're not great, but there. Alright, so reset scene buffs. We've got that. This is coming from the player depot. We call reset scene buffs on everything. So now we need to call this every time we call reset all player stats, which is done at the beginning of each match. And we mostly care about it coming from the server, which is right here. Reset buff potential. Yeah, so let's do this. Good. Now, generate buffs for all players. We go through, we call generate buff. Good. We do scene buff IDs dot add all. We should say add scene buffs, scene buff IDs for scene buff IDs dot length. Change this. We say const scene buff ID equals that, and then this dot scene buff IDs, scene buff ID equals true. Yeah, I don't know what the buff depot is doing for randomly generating buffs. We have buff IDs not allowed. How does this work? We check to see. If it contains. Interesting. Does this work for objects? Do I have underscore here? Nope. Time to open it up this way. Desktop, test HTML here, F12. Let's see how this works. A equals foo true bar false. Underscore dot contains a function. How would this even work? Something. Return something dot something equals true. False. Something equals foo. False. What is something? Console.log something. It is just false. Okay, let's try something else. Weird. Yeah, very weird. I don't know what this takes in. Oh, because this is an object, it's searching this for, it's not treating this as a predicate anymore. I need to say something like foo in here. No, I don't. Maybe I need to say a. Ah, there we go. This is searching the values. Oh, that's not good. Okay, let's take a look. So buff ID is not allowed. We're not even using this right now. So this does not need to be an array. And in fact, this probably shouldn't be an array. Okay, allowed buffs. So we filter out all the not allowed buffs. Buff ID. So it's really just this that we need to change. We could do this. We could say buff ID is not allowed. We'd say return. I forgot how filter works exactly. So this was not contains buff ID. So there's a double not here. If the disallowed buffs does not contain it, then it's allowed. So we're returning true when we want to keep something. Return true when we want to keep something. When a buff is allowed. Is that correct? So if it's not in the disallowed, then we, yeah, that's true. Okay. Can I detect if enemy has a certain buff active? No, you can't. What is foo used as? Like, do people commonly use it to test things? Foo is used as a placeholder name when you don't feel like coming up with a real name. And there's actually a decent article I read online a while ago, which is that you can almost always come up with a better name. So what people will typically say is something like, oh, int foo equals bar, like return foo plus 5. And this is just to show you that, hey, this part of the code that I'm showing you, it's that the variable names are not important. The problem is that you could say something like this. You could say, I don't know, int return value equals some input value. And it would be exactly the same code, but now it's at least a little bit more self-explanatory of, okay, I don't care what this is because it's called some input value, but this must end up being the return value. Okay, great. So then I add 5 to it and I return it. Okay. Next up, so we have randomly generate buffs. This is going to be totally different now. So we need to do return true when a buff is allowed. Return a buff is allowed when this does not exist. So return not util.exist. Okay. Next, we also comment this. We change this to an object of IDs to Boolean. The list of buff IDs that can't be generated because we've already seen them before. So no, this is now the hash of buff IDs that can't be generated before. So I've already seen them before. Yes. Ha 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 ha. Cannot even say all those words that fast. So what do we do here? Randomly generate a buff. We check to see if these are not allowed. Yeah. So all these other things, this stuff's fine. This doesn't work. We can't just say this. We need to put it this way. We need to say this equals true. Okay. This is not going to work either. So what we need to say here is underscore dot keys dot length omitted, which means we need the underscore. Okay, great. So there, I think we fixed all of the array specific code and turned it into objects, but we're still not done. When we say add scene buffs, we've got this. This is not something we even need to do anymore. We could do it. It doesn't hurt us to do it. It isn't necessary. So now in the game server we say scene buff IDs at all. Now we need to change it to this. Buffs to choose from. So what is this that gets returned? I believe this is an array of buffs, right? Randomly generate buffs, returns an array of buffs, yes. So then this is going to take in an array of buffs. So scene buffs adds all given, marks all given buffs as seen by this player. This is an array of buffs. Good. So we go over all of them and we change this to scene buff. Scene buff ID is this now. Perfect. All right, so now this is working. This is no longer pseudocode. Now, if they already have outstanding buff choices, we should randomly pick one. So that's a to-do item. We're going to have to do that some other time, not right now, because we don't have this. But we have automatically choose a buff when they have an outstanding choice. So we at least know this. So to-do, if they already have, we should randomly pick one and then set this. So that's great. And then to-do, tell the player about the choices. Now, here's where we can just put a debugger for now. A debigger. A d-smaller statement. And I think I screwed that up. All right, well, we got to wait some time. Again, Quantum KO. All right. Now here's what we're gonna test. Wait, do we have start a new game? Is this called generate? Generate buffs. Good, 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 and good. Okay, yeah, all that's fine. So now we refresh this page and it should automatically break in. Also, what's going on the server? I am beating HSRU. You see that? Artillery blob doesn't help you. Oh wait, yes it does. That beats my. Oh, hang on. Forget what I just said. We gotta beat HSRU. There. Take that. Are you ready for this? Cloak, move out of the way, dash toward you, punch your machines down. Interesting. Your bots are pretty powerful. Yeah, so breaking this whole blockade is going to be pretty important, or being able to break it, I should say. Because otherwise, this is going to be very, very imbalanced. It's already, all right, whatever. I think I win. But yeah, so this should have broken in, and I don't believe it did. But perhaps, nope, yep, something's broken. Oh, how do we fix this? Let's go into the simulation server and take a look. Or rather, the game server even, and take a look. And by the way, is the time lower now? Yes, perfect. It's 1 minute. That's exactly what we wanted. So I just barely beat HSRU. All right, but we go into here and we check right here. This should get hit. I'd be surprised if this didn't. Yeah, it's not being hit. That means started new game isn't being hit? What is going on? Update game state. Let's put a breakpoint there. We'll eventually get to the bottom of this. Okay, good. That's at least being hit. So let's take a look. What's going on? We need to check this if it's ready to transition to the next state. And it is. So what's the current game phase? Current game phase, let's add it to our watch, is pre-game. So now, oh, that's right. Oh, but the previous, oh, darn it. I screwed up. What was game phase is pre-game? New game phase equals in-game. Oh, so we need this. Darn it. We need to start the game at post-game and then set it to pre-game? Or maybe we check to see if we're in single-player mode somehow? I'm not sure what way is best to do this. Also, if you join at any point in... Okay, there's... I told you this would take a long time. So we need to say if a player joins during the pre-game for pre-beta, we should probably give them buffs if they haven't been given any already. Or maybe we say right up until the 5-minute mark. I'm not sure what we want to do there. Oh, also the new game has started. I should deploy these bots again, just to give HSRU something to play against. So how do we do this? If a new game has never been started, we need to start a new game. I know that sounds obvious. What do we... How do I do this? I need to make sure that it's not annoying to test this. Alright, for now, here's what I'm going to do. Because I don't know what to do other than this for right now. I guess we set this to post game. And then we set that you're in post game for 1 second. This is going to be kind of weird. So we'll be in post game for 1 second and then in pre game for 1 entire minute. So it'll take a second and then we should hit this breakpoint. Okay, that didn't work. What's wrong here? Constants is not defined. What is this? If you uncomment that, you've got to put constants in. All right, well, that makes sense, but I think this is really only for the sake of the simulation server. And it is going to look kind of weird. Yeah, there's got to be a better way to do this. I'll have to think about this. But for right now, what is this? Pause on the JavaScript breakpoint? Yeah, so remove that. And let's see our debugger. Okay, good. It did get hit. This is not the correct area for it to be hit, but it's better than nothing. So add all is not a thing. I just typed that wrong. Now instead of add all, what we have to do is just get rid of this. So that part's fine. Like I said, I don't like this code here. So I'm going to write this here. To do, make it so that a single player match immediately starts a new game without ever having to be in the post game phase. And I'm going to put this here. I'm just going to say like attention. Now before we check this in, we'll see it. So now I'll refresh this. We'll take a look. Again, we should have made it one step farther. Did we? Perfect. That is perfect. Let's take a look at the buffs to choose from. What do we have? Nothing. Okay, well, that is quite the problem. Let's refresh and find out why this is generating nothing. And this isn't... Oh, what's this? What is this? Why is it broken in here? Strange. That actually is really strange. Okay, let randomly generate buffs. So here we go. We're going to randomly generate 3 buffs. Right? 3 buffs? Yeah, 3. And they're all going to be major buffs. And we have no buff IDs that are not allowed. Buff IDs not allowed as an object. That has nothing. Good. So major and minor buffs, we're going to pick major buffs, which should be 3 of these. Good. Allowed buffs, we're going to... Oh, this is probably the problem. We probably filter out so that there are no allowed... No, they're all allowed. Weird. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and we actually tested that. So now we sample one of the buffs. Yeah, I don't actually care about that. Good. Oh, we never added to the array. Ha, 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 ha. Okay. So randomly generate buffs. We say buff ID to generate. This isn't even correct. What is this? Randomly generate buffs. Return allowed buffs. Is it an ID? No, what's a buff? What? This, that was weird. This code never worked. But yeah, we'll say const buff equals this, buff dot get ID. And we'll say buff stop push buff. Yeah, okay. Oh, and by the way, thank you very much for the follows. If you got a link from one of my bots in the channel, that link is for you to be able to control my lights in my room. So I know it looks like a very weird link. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. It is this kind of link where you see a weird token and then a username. And so by clicking it, you can just change. I think I'm in front of the light. I gotta go this way. Yeah, so you can just change lights in my room by using this. So feel free, have fun. You can also change like color loop on here, so then all the colors change. Yeah, I'm gonna press this off, and then you guys can change it if you want. Or by the way, you could do what every other person does, which is like mash the random button a million times. Set it to rave mode in my room. Okay, here we go. All right, so buffs to choose from. This should return 3 buffs this time. Perfect. Okay, and that's as far as we got so far. So now buff choices equals buffs to choose from. Let's take a look at these buffs. I'm pretty sure, well, it's all of them. It should be all of them. There should be no duplicates here. So here we have decreased damage taken by 15%. Oh, they're duplicates. Decreased damage taken, decreased damage taken. How did that happen? Interesting. Buff IDs not allowed. Return buffs. Yeah, this is wrong. Is this filter not working? Filter the allowed buffs with a function that takes in, iterate over all of them. Till that exists buff ID. Weird. Yeah, very weird. That's not good. Okay, yeah, let's step through this. Bachner says, sorry, I'm a noob. Is this C#? No, this is JavaScript. It's ECMAScript 6. So, and then Wizardly Waffle says, how goes the botland? The botland is going well. We are working on the buff system. So when a match starts, right now, I'll show you guys the game. Well, there's only one other person. Oh, no, there are 2 people online now. So yeah, it is a red team versus blue team thing going on now. It's a death match. You can see the number of points up here. At the 0-minute mark in a match, at the 5-minute mark, and at the 10-minute mark, we're going to generate buffs for all the connected players. And these buffs are going to be something like this checklist you see here. Plus damage dealt, minus damage taken, increased missile range, damage dealt when your X coordinates even, life leech, increased landmine time to live, etc., etc., etc. There are going to be like hundreds of these things. And you'll get to pick at any point 1 out of 3 of them. And it'll change the game for you. And it'll change the game for the other players too. So that's the system we're working on now. And yeah, no problem, Bachner. Feel free to ask whatever you want, by the way. If you want to ask like why I'm doing something or what the game's about or really anything, like I try to be as interactive as possible. Okay, yeah, why is this broken? Let's get back into here. And you know what? Let's get rid of these things. Okay, so this will load. And now what we want is to put a breakpoint where we had it before. It's being very slow. Okay, good. So here we are. We're going to step into here, and we're going to find out why this is breaking. So the first buff that we make, anything is possible. So like we're fine with this being whatever it is. It is increased missile range by 1. That's totally cool. Now we do buff.getID. Let's add this to our watch as well, I guess. I can't do that unless I select this exactly. Come on. All right, add to watch. So it's increased missile range. Good. And buff ID is not allowed. Should previously have been an empty object. Good. And now after this line, it should be this object with increased missile range set to true. Perfect. We push that buff. We get into the next buff. So now here's where something's breaking, and I don't know why. Let's step in and find out why. So we have major or minor buffs. We're going to have the major buffs, and it's going to be cloned. And we check to see if the IDs are the same. So we have percent damage dealt, percent damage taken, and then this. So yeah, we want a breakpoint in here. No, we actually don't want a breakpoint in here. We just want to see allowed buff should only be an array of 2 things. It's an array of 3 things. So this is the problem. And I don't know why exactly this is happening. So this particular thing is returning all 3. How do we change this? Buff IDs not allowed. Ah, they all exist in there. That's not right. What is this? Let's try this. Console.log buff IDs not allowed buff ID. Undefined, undefined, undefined. Oh, well, there's the issue. What is buff ID is not allowed then? It's an what? It's an object? What is what? Something's wrong. Well, I suppose that's obvious by me trying to fix a bug right now, but percent damage dealt. Did I type something wrong? Buff ID is not allowed. No, that's right there. Oh, what is happening then? Why is this? Weird. Okay, let's print out everything that's in here. How about that? For var k in buff IDs not allowed, console.log k. Increase missile range. Yeah. How is this undefined then? How about this? Console.log buff IDs not allowed. Increase missile range. This should print true. It does. So what is going on then? Oh, buff ID is not a... Oh, darn it. It's a buff. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay. This is a buff. So this should be buff.getID. Oh. That was stupid. How about like control because those giveaways are rigged? Alright, there you go. Bloody Mustache says, what game engine do you use? I'm not really using a game engine per se. I'm using a rendering engine on the client, but I'm mostly writing things myself. The good old rigged knee-jerk reaction. That's how you know you're still on Twitch. Yeah, I don't know if Roving Eye is even here, so fine, I'll run another giveaway. Well, it's still not you, everyone. Better luck next time. Okay, I think this bug is fixed now. In fact, we can test this by pigeonholing it into choosing all 3 buffs and then trying to get it to pick a 4th one, and it should fail. So let's take a look. Buffs to choose from. What do we have here? We should have all 3 different ones. Decreased damage taken by 15%, increased missile range by 1 tile, and this one has to be increased damage given by 15%. Yes. Okay, and that's like hidden underneath my... Yeah, but you can see this here. Hidden underneath my head. Perfect. Yeah, this is working. So if I were to change this now, if I went into constants and I said, try to generate 4 buffs, this should be impossible, and it should error out. Because we don't have 4 buffs. I just never coded 4 buffs. HSR, you won by 1 point. Oh, you did. Good job. Wow, look at those KDRs. 1.01 to 0.99. That is just too bad. Okay, now we expect an insert message. Perfect. Check it out. Filtered out all possible buffs. 3 major or minor with 3 omitted. Yeah. So we had 3 buffs. We omitted 3 of them. We can't generate anything else. Cool. All right, well, there's the foundation for this. There's about half an hour left today, so we can get some more work done. But first, I got to go use the bathroom, so I will be back. All right, yeah, be right back. Alright, I'm back. Oh, sorry, I just slammed my keyboard back on my desk. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, I'm on the blue team now, which means I'm on the wrong side. We got to set the enemy direction to right. There. Okay, SQ says, is this game supposed to work in Firefox or is it Chrome only? It should work in Firefox, so if it doesn't, then I have screwed something up. Let's take a look. Oh, it looks like it's working. Let's just put a pre-made script down. Oh yeah, this thing is broken in Firefox, which is annoying. It automatically trashes whatever I try putting on here. I have not looked into why that happens. Does it trash everything? Oh, it thinks I... Oh, interesting. You can see it lets me put it... Where did it let me put it? There was somewhere where that X went away. Where did that happen, though? It was like right around here. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why Firefox doesn't like me doing this. You know what I bet it is? I bet it thinks that there's something in front of this, so it just rejects it immediately, and I'd have to find the exact... Let's take a look at this. Oh, we can't do that. Visual language doesn't work on Firefox. Yeah, this problem. Is this a... Oh wait, is it a zooming problem? Oh, it's a browser zoom problem. Okay. SQ, is that your issue too? When you zoom out, so if you press Control-0, does it work for you? Because that's what I did, and now everything just started working. Well, try it out. Let me know. Hang on a second, I gotta send a whisper. Oh wait, I can't. Alright, never mind. Okay, so generate buffs for player. We've generated the buffs. Now we need to tell them about that. So here's where we need to come up with another router action. And I believe this is going to be very similar to the last one that we made. So we also need to go into constants here, and we need to set this. We need to say server buff choices sent by the server to tell you about buff choices. To tell a particular player about buff choices, about their buff choice. Okay, there. We eventually got to the comment we wanted. Next, we want to make a router action, just like how set player team works. So let's go take a look. Also, wow, I just noticed there are 25 people watching, but there are 38 people in chat. I guess 2 of those people in chat are my bots. And interesting. Okay, so here's where we fix this stuff. We have server buff choices are just going to be called buff choices. Good. We will eventually, actually, how do we want to do this? This should go to main. So we will do this. We'll make buff choices. Received buff choices. Good. Don't care about that one. Don't care about that one. This is going to be the same way. Buff choices. When I zoomed out by 1, it works. Yeah. I don't know what's causing that exactly. Buff choices. Good. This is what, router actions? So yeah, we need something here. Buff choices. And finally, buff choices. Okay, good. So we have all this stuff. Next, we need to we need to route to the correct player. So we do route, what is it called? Route only to, I think. Route only to, yeah, here we go. Action player args. So we have the action, we have the player, and we have the args, which are going to be the buffs, but they need to be serialized. So let's do this. Serialized buffs equal this. For buffs to choose from, we say const buff to choose from equals that. And then we say serialized buffs dot push buff to choose from dot serialize. So there. And buff.js has a serialized function, and we don't need to pass anything into it. So what was that? No, yeah, that was a delete. I saw 2 pink keywords, and I thought, were those 2 returns? Because that's not possible. So now we send the serialized buffs across. Oh, and this needs to change. Buff choices. Okay, now there needs to be something on the client side listening to this. So we have a received buff choices, serialized buffs, and this is an array of serialized buffs. So we're going to do const buff. No, maybe we don't want to do that. I don't know. Let's just do this for now. We'll iterate over these, and we'll say const buff equals buff.deserialize. And for us to be able to use that means we need the buff class, which we don't have. So let's go into... Why is this failing? Okay, there we go. Let's import buff from buff and make sure that it's over there. Yes, good. Okay, and then when we say received buff choices, we're just going to deserialize it. And then we're going to put a debugger here, and we're going to make sure that everything works. Let's try it. Something's wrong. There. Okay. Cool. Let's close some of these things since they're no longer needed. Good, 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 good. Things are going well. I'm losing this game, but that's okay. Not paying attention at all. Okay, let's refresh. Try this out. Whoop, there it goes. Oh, this is... What is this? This is a JavaScript breakpoint? That's wrong. Okay, something's wrong. Let's put a breakpoint here and refresh. What happened here? Yeah. So we route buff choices. Does this never get sent to the client? Player. Player is going to be you. Yeah, that makes sense. Serialized buffs. Wait, does route only to take this into account? This is probably not going to work exactly how I want it to, but there's already an issue. I'm going to write this down too. Make sure route only to... Wait a second, what? This... What do I call this? There's a... I'm a little confused here. How does route only to work? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, route only to works. It had to work because we solved that problem a long time ago and we needed to have solved it a long time ago. But then this, why is this failing? Let's just go into this and find out what's happening. So we route... Oh, it's... What? This should have said route only to. Did I? Let me diff all. Route only to. No, I just forgot to rename it. Okay. Let's try this one more time then. So my goal here is by the end of the hour, so in the next 20 minutes, get it to the point where, yes, we have definitely gotten buffs to show up on the client in the console. We're not going to have any UI yet. Okay, so here we go. Step into this. We get to route only to get pub subtopic, buff choices, and player ID should be 0. Is it? I can't tell. Player ID is 0, and your player ID is always 0. So now we publish that buff choices, and we have something listening for this. So yeah, what's going on? Buff choices. Right here. It's subscribed. It was set at the time, so now we should be in this function. Oh, we are. Serialized buff. We have... Oh, what? Why wasn't this working originally then? Oh, because the arguments were misinterpreted. Oh. Okay. So now the debugger is going to be hit. Let's do buff. Let's just see. What's this buff? Increase missile range. Great. What's the next buff? Percent damage taken. Great. And the last one needs to be percent damage dealt. Great. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, this is great. SQ says, well, now it randomly stopped working with the zoomed out view and it works with normal zoom. Yeah, I don't know what's doing that. Oh man, I don't know how to fix that either. And I wonder, I think I wrote something like this down in here. Or did I write it down? Polish zooming. No, this was for cameras. Yeah, I think there's... I guess let me make a bugs list. In Firefox, the zoom level seems to prevent dragging in Blockly. I don't think this happens with the official Blockly demos. I should figure out when the red cursor is being used, because that's what shows up despite my being in empty space, despite my hovering over empty space. Okay. Yeah, and I'll mark this as created now, but it was actually created longer than that. Okay, so we have the buffs. This is what I wanted to get to the point of by the end of the hour, like I said. I don't know if it's worth getting to the point where they show up in a UI yet. And then you choose them, and then you can send it back to the server that you've chosen them. So I guess the first thing is generate buffs for a player when a new game starts. Then it's show a UI for the player that lets them choose. And this can be really simple at first. You just need 3 clickable elements somewhere on the screen. I don't care if you can dismiss it or not. I mean, that doesn't really matter yet. And then send the choice. I gotta sneeze. Okay. Send the choice to the server and validate it. Yeah, and then later send buffs at the 5-minute and 10-minute marks too. So I feel like I've already kind of gotten to the point where I can check this in. Yes, it's only showing on the console, and it's only because of this. So we could say console.log got a buff choice plus buff.toString, and then when we rebuild this, we'll see whether this works. Also, yeah, how are we doing on memory? Good. Yeah, so I'll weed through this, clean it up. Thank you, Captain Babu. Okay, there we go. So yeah, when I refresh this page, wait, first of all, another match is about to start. And is HSRU paying immediate attention? No. Slipping. Okay, let's refresh this. And what we should see happen is we should see 3 buffs print to the console, and it should be all 3 of the buffs that we've coded, because there are only 3 and it always generates 3. Good. Damage dealt, damage taken, range. Now we refresh again, and it shouldn't necessarily be in that same order. So it was dealt, taken, range. Now it is taken, dealt, range. So yeah, they're random. That's good. We could test this a little bit further by setting the number to generate to like 2, but it's going to be blatantly obvious once we have more than 3 whether this is working. Missile range always seems to be the last one. Okay. I don't know the chance of that happening, but it's probably not less than like 1 out of 16, so totally, yeah, there we go. All right, great. Everything's fine. Let's get ready to commit, check this in. And a lot of these files are going to be very easy to look through because it's going to be a one-line change for adding in a constant. So here, this is called when the server tells you what your buff choices are. This is an array of objects, serialized buffs, and we don't return anything. Good. And for now, we're console logging. We won't be eventually. Oh yeah, this to do. Make it so that a single player match immediately starts a new game without ever having to be in the post-game phase. Well, we're not checking this in anyway, so it's not really worth doing yet. This, we changed the type, changed how a lot of this works. It used to be pseudocode. So we'll say return true when a buff is allowed. Yeah, this is all fine. There are some functions here that we didn't comment. So if we go into game server and we have start a new game as the first one, call this whenever in order to start a new game. This will reset any game specific state. So yeah, delete the offline players, scramble the teams, wipe out all entities, reset their stats, their buffs, and then generate new buffs for the players. Sounds good. Generates a set of major buff choices for all players. And I'm actually going to get rid of the word major in there. I'm going to get rid of this. And tells them about it. Great. And at this point, they will have already been sent everything else. Good. Yeah. So generates a set of buff choices for an individual player and tells them about it. I should say this. Calls for all players. Great. The player that we pass in is the specific player to generate buffs for, and we don't return anything. So generate 3 major buffs. So we're going to just say generate buffs for the player to choose from. Nah, we don't even need to say that. So generate some buffs. Mark them all as seen. Then here we're going to need to change this. Actually, this is not a thing we should be doing right now. Yeah, we do need to keep track of this actually. So set current buff choices, buffs to choose from. We go into shared player and we say scene buff IDs, this stuff. So we're going to say this dot current buffs to choose from equals, I guess it's just an empty array. Yeah. An array, the buffs that you're currently allowed to choose from. This is an array of buffs. So we have a set buffs to choose from function. Set current buff choices. This dot buffs to choose from equals buffs to choose from. Great. Then in dispose, we need to clear this out. So we're going to set this here to null. Wheel. Yeah, so I think that's fine. And then, yep, so serialize buffs. So serialize them and then send them to that player. Makes sense. Yeah, great. I think all that's fine. Good. What do we have in here? Yep, just a couple of constants. Here we need to put some comments in serve player, set current buff choice, shared player, set current buff choices. So we say here, sets the current buffs that you can choose from. See you, SwiftBlue. I probably won't be back when you get back because I'm going to leave in about 10 minutes once I'm done with this commit, really. I'll wait a little bit longer. Also, did HSRU ever start playing again? Ah, nice. And yes, I am drastically losing. That's okay. So here we're going to say that there's an array of buffs that you can choose from, and then reset scene buffs marks all buffs as unseen, meaning they will be allowed as choices again in the game, in the match, or the next match. In the next, I'll just say the next match. Cool. Yeah. All right, this is looking good. Almost finished with this commit. Just got a couple more things. Reset all players seen buffs, and that is coming from what? Shared player depot. Reset all players seen buffs. Calls reset seen buffs. We'll just say this, yeah. Marks all buffs as unseen for each player. Yep, that's good. So what else do we have here? Yeah, just constants and constants. Excellent. Buffs are now randomly generated exactly at the beginning of every match, i.e. when the phase transitions from post-game to pre-game. These buff choices, so these buff choices are sent to the owner of the choices and then printed on the console on the client, but there's otherwise nothing that can be done about them, i.e. you can't actually choose and then apply a buff yet. Pedro player says, "Oh, I want the game." Well, every day the cost to get the game goes down. If you go to bot.land and then click pre-beta, the cost tomorrow is going to be 90 points. Now, I said when I get 1,000 followers, I want to show you guys concept art for the game, which I only just got like last week, and I wanted to make the game cheaper to enter. So right now, yeah, that's what this stuff was for. I wanted you guys to vote on it before. I'm probably just going to do those things. The other choice was the prototype of Botland. I've mentioned this a lot. One of the things I didn't mention in that straw poll, though, is that we're kind of past where we were in the prototype. Like, there are a couple features that are missing but that aren't really relevant, and there are a couple features in there. The UI was at least more present, maybe not even better. Oh, nice. Escu's been deployed. All right. So I have not finished checking this in yet. Yeah, and I am happy about this. I am going to push this so that I don't lose any of this code. Great. Yeah, excellent. I think this was a good day. There were a lot of bugs that were fixed, a lot of just making things smoother for the rest of the week. We've got 3 buffs in the game now. We're eventually going to have it at the point where you can actually pick a buff. It's going to be so much fun once we get there. I can't wait for that. Who's messing with the light? Let's find out. It is GamerCoder. Well, GamerCoder changed it to yellow, which probably only changed this light here. See? Yellow. I don't know if it was that light or not. But it's also you, Pedro player. So, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I'm pretty happy with the progress from today. And on the server right now are some of the bug fixes that I'd implemented. So, yeah, artillery no longer hurts yourself. And HSRU, let me know if you do see anything weird happening with artillery. Time is up. GamerCoder, you actually only did 1 change. So if you want, here, I'll give you another. Wanted to see if you can find out. GamerCoder. There. Yeah, so if you guys want access to the lights, you either have to win a giveaway or you just follow me for the first time, and you'll get sent a whisper sometime after about a minute or 2 of following. Wait, what is my uptime for today? 7 hours and 59 minutes.